I do plan on using at least one block for today's practice, so you can have that available. What I want to talk about today, we've actually ended our series based on the Kleshas. And what we've been working on this week is the fear of death, which is the fifth and final category, which I talked about this week is also not just death, but um, change and the unknown. And we're going to begin with the state of Savasana, where we're actually using Savasana as its true intention, which is just becoming motionless and allowing our breath rate and heart rate to slow down so that we can move into that state of spaciousness and reconnect to source and understand and have that recognition that we are more than mind and body. We don't say that all the time in every Shavasana, but that was its roots. And with this topic, it's perfect to bring it up. I don't want to talk about that any more than in our beginning Shavasana and what I just stated, because today is another important day, and it's 11/11. So I know in this country we celebrate Veterans Day. It's a holiday. It's a national day where we, honor the vets and those that have, put their life on the line in order to protect this nation. And it's a beautiful thing to remember. But it's also something important with numerology and astrology that I thought I should bring up. So if you look at today's date, 11/11, the number one in numerology acts like a conduit or an antenna between the heavens and the earth. You can just think of the one and what that looks like. So it's between matter and spirit. And when you put two ones together and create the 11, it is said to be like a gateway or columns to take us into kind of a new path, a new portal, a new way of looking at things. And astrologically, what this is doing, if you read charts, I don't read charts, but I just listen to them, and they're all saying the same thing, is that this is actually going to begin a new 12-year cycle. And the number 12 keeps showing up to me recently. In fact, I was even thinking back on, I was 12 years as a flight attendant and 12 and a half years as a studio owner. And I feel like I am embarking on a whole new kind of section of a 12-year time period. Because we're going through all these massive changes and shifts on the earth and within humanity, if you look at astrology and numerology closely, those are also not just sciences, but a spiritual practice, a spiritual way to look at energy and living and lifestyle. And the light of the 11/11 portal, since there's two 11s side by side, 11 is also considered an angel number. So with it being 11/11, it's the call of asking the angels for support and guidance, and also asking and receiving the illumination of what may be holding you back, since we're stepping through this gateway for another 12 years. So it could be limited mindset. It could be insecurities. That's what I'm dealing with right now. I've been noticing the light has been looking at kind of the shadow side of my personality and the insecurities that I've developed over my lifetime. And I had this like aha moment this morning and this realization in my meditation that I was putting way too much on my relationship and way too many expectations for Rob, instead of working with my own stuff. I was kind of looking at him to be like my fulfillment, my savior, and my person to come in and like build me up from these insecurities, but that's not his job. Happiness is an inside job, and working through our shadow, no one can do that for us but our own self. And so hopefully all of us will receive some type of enlightenment on what it is that we're working on, what it is that we need to overcome in order to step through that door, step through that portal for something new to come in. And the last thing I want to mention is they're all saying there's certain lights coming from the Pleiades part of the section of the stars up in the skies. And this is said to be like a lot of joy in the awakening, a lot of joy in these realizations. And hopefully you're going to feel some of that joy come through, even though you may be casting a light on the shadow. So at the very end of the practice, I will do a seated meditation for 11:11. So let's go ahead and get started. And what we're going to start with is Savasana, or the corpse pose. So you can take a blanket under your head if you need it. And we're going to take the hands onto the belly, fanning the feet away. Melting down into the shoulders. Feeling our seat bedded to the earth. And perhaps the head resting on the prop. Science says that if we recline at least 30 degrees, we can have a physiological response to relaxation. Probably because we've been trained to go to sleep. So allow your body to become motionless. Let your breath be natural. To the point that as you release and let go, you notice your heart and breath rate begin to drop. Letting any thoughts disperse from the mind. Moving into that space in between. Moving into that spaciousness will help us to let go of any rigidity in the mind, so that the mind can expand. Dropping down into the intuitive heart, allowing the heart to also expand. Bearing witness to all that is inside and outside. Experiencing yourself as the inner seer, the inner witness. The consciousness behind our intelligence, the consciousness behind our intuition, the consciousness that brings life to the body. The peace that is infinite, eternal. Not even bound by this body. The discovery of this part of yourself is the whole intention of Shavasana. So that we can drop the fear of change, so that we can drop the fear of the unknown, so that we can drop the fear, the ultimate transformation, going back to the spiritual realm. On the next inhalation, we're going to bring the legs closer and flex through the ankles. We're going to circle the arms overhead. And so when you're creating this stretch, it's a little different than morning stretch, because morning stretch, we point the toes. Here, we're pressing out through the heels and splaying the toes. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose and notice the shape of the legs, the parallel nature, creating 11. The parallel nature of the arms, creating the other 11. And imagining your navel at your center is the portal. The spawning of new life, the new path, the new direction. Now slide your feet over to the right and then curve the upper body to the right and let's go. So that your feet get soft, your knees get soft, your elbows slightly bend, and the fingers begin to curl in. Creating banana asana. Be with yourself and close the eyes and gaze into the mind's eye. And maybe have some time to reflect. Where's your mind gone the last couple of days? Where has it been this morning? Have you noticed something stirring within? Have you pointed shame or blame to someone else when really that finger needs to point back to you? Let the light of awareness turn on. Inhale, we're going to slide the legs back through center, as well as re-straighten the spine. I'll come back into 11-11. This type of stretch where we're pushing out through active feet, firing up the muscles through the legs, reaching long through the fingers. And then exhale, walk and travel the feet to the left, and then curve the upper body to the left. And then relax from the feet up to the face and fingertips. Feel free to open up your lung capacity and to control your breath now. if you haven't started to already. Feel supported and nourished by the breath. I meant to say, if this ever causes any disruption in the shoulders, sometimes just patting a blanket underneath that specific shoulder and even the whole arm can be helpful. Taking 3 more. Inhale, we're going to straighten the legs, straighten out the vertebrae. And then we're going to bring the arms back around and we're going to actually sit on the hands. And we're creating a base. And if double leg lifts are challenging for your hips or for your core, please know that you can just do one singular leg here. And you can do 5 to one side and 5 to the other. But I'm going to instruct it by hiking both legs skyward, pointing the toes. Exhale, flexing the ankles and lowering them down to hover or to touch. Pointing and lifting on the in-breath. Flexing and descending on the out-breath. And continue this with repetition. I actually lost count. My dog distracted me. Okay. Let's just say that's 10. And then once you lower the feet down, remove the hands. Inhale. Let's take the left leg up first. And we're going to lace the hands behind the thigh. And of course, if you're more limber, you can slide it up to your calf. You can even attach the peace moocher to the big toe. I'm going to take it easy today. I'm just going to stay at the thigh. We always think that we have to go to our full edge of flexibility, but that's not the case every day. Sometimes it's good to back off a little. Some of you may even want to just have your hands down and the legs suspended in the air without the attachment of the hands or use of the arms. From Padangusthasana A, we're going to switch it to the half happy baby. So if you bend the left knee and if you can take your hand up to hold the foot, the knee will slip off to the left side. You are attempting to line up the heel over the knee, but it doesn't have to be precise. Sole of the foot ideally is facing the ceiling. You're going to feel more weight kind of leaning towards the left hip. This is okay in yin. If the right leg being extended is too much for the hips, you can try sliding the right foot back, and that may decrease the sensation to make it more tolerable. Close your eyes and just notice what is showing up today in this particular hip. Some days I experience a little bit more eruption than other days. Today it's definitely showing up over here. On your next exhalation, we're going to bring this foot across the upper body and then tag it with the right hand. Your left hand will hold the back of the left knee. And if you already have some limitation in the hip, or if you're already feeling a good pull, you don't need to do anything else, okay? But if you want to lift your head up, you might be able to hook the right arm around the foot, the left arm around the knee, and lower the head back to the floor. Or again, you could use a prop to go under your head. This is like a supine variation of pigeon pose. And then regardless if you have the cradle hold or hand hold, let's lift the head again, pierce the navel in, fly the right foot midair, and really extend through the right leg. So again, we're firing up a few muscles here, adding in a little strength with the stretch. And now as you exhale, let's just lower and release back into a corpse pose. And the arms can be beside you, palms open, or hands resting on the belly. But there's some separation between the feet. The toes fan away from your center. I just want you to notice that electric surge moving down from your left hip down into the foot. Let that integrate, allow it to be absorbed, and trust the body's natural intelligence to send any healing energy where it needs to go. Now flex the feet, walk them a little closer in, stretch the arms overhead, creating that double 11 through your limbs. One more breath. Exhale, soften. Bring the arms back around. Inhale, the right leg's going to lift. We'll go through that same sequence. Arms hooking behind the leg if you want to latch on. Feel free to take it higher. That's in your wheelhouse today. Just make sure your breath is deep and wide. So maybe be contemplative here, since we're working this lower chakra. That's about our conditioning. You know, if you're finding that you are noticing a piece of your shadow, notice if it has its roots in conditioning. You know, some of my insecurities that have come up this week are completely connected to conditioning from society. So sometimes we have to decondition to recondition. All right, let's begin to bend that knee. Let's reach that right hand up to hold the foot, and the knee can slip away to the right side. Sole of the foot facing the sky. You are gently pulling it down. And remember, you're in control of that for how much you feel and experience. So if you need more, give more. If you need less, do less. Noticing what's showing up on this side so that you're staying connected to that inner witness. Being the seer of the seen, the feeler of what is felt. Carry that foot across your body and then tag it with your left hand, right hand to right knee. Obviously, this may be plenty, but if you want to experiment to see if you can lift up, shoo, that caused me to sneeze. Perhaps sliding a prop under your head. Breathing new energy in, breathing old and stagnant energy out. The breath fluid, one rolling into the next. Feel the head up, scoop the belly in, fly up your left foot, spread out from the toes, be active. And exhale, release it all. Lower back into quartz. Take a moment here because that was a lot. Let it absorb. And then we're going to do that 11-11 one more time. This is just an expression with our limbs today, making the legs and arms parallel. actively reaching in opposite directions. And then exhale, hug your knees into your belly and chest. Give your low back some relief. You can even give a little wiggle to your tailbone, shimmying it back and forth. And then you can either rock up to a seat or you can roll over to one side and lift your way up. So we're going to take the feet really wide, and I'm going to show you from the side and then I'll show you from another viewpoint. You've done this with me before. We've taken the shoulder to the inside, and then you flip this hand open and you try to thread it underneath. And I know that's not going to work for everyone's shoulder. Don't worry about it. If that hurts, just leave your palm open. But once you kind of connect your side body to that inner thigh, you're going to reach the right arm towards the heavens. Now, it may strain your neck to look up, so just have your neck neutral if that's the case. Pick up your sternum and heart. And if you're staying here, keep the hand spread open. If you want to take it a little deeper, thread that right arm behind your back. You might be able to connect the fingers, and you're rolling the right shoulder open, if that's the case. Exhale, let's unwind. We'll go to the other side. So the right shoulder dips down. The hand can potentially thread under. And then the left arm is going to radiate up and down. Maybe that hand crosses behind the back. Maybe the fingers can join. And if that's the case, roll the left shoulder open. And don't even feel like the hands have to touch. You can still roll the left shoulder open if the hand is just resting on the back somewhere. Last breath. And release out. So I'm going to grab a block because I forgot to bring it with me. We're going to use that a little bit later. We're going to take the Malasana squat. So actually, if you need, to sit on the block somehow, feel free to do that. You can turn the block 3 different directions to make it appropriate for you. If you want to be truly yin, you are kind of hanging in the hip joints here. And the heels may be on or off the floor. You can always tuck a blanket below to perch yourself on. We're not going to hold it terribly long, though, today, because we did some nice hip openers already. So bring the fingertips down, turn your feet parallel, and then just let your upper body hang free. You nod your head here, wiggle the shoulders. From hanging in your wide stance forward fold, we're going to circle the arms off to the right, up overhead, over to the left, and then cruising back past the feet, to the right, up above, rainbow to the left, and cross back over the feet. The third round here, once we lower the hands, we'll pause. We were going counterclockwise. Now take it to the left and go clockwise. Up overhead, to the right, below, and across the feet. And then releasing back into this wide stance, forward fold. Heel toe the feet closer together. Let them be side by side parallel but not touching. Bend your knees and you're gonna stack your elbows on top of your thighs and your hands can fold together. And this is bear pose. Feel free to use your hands, on furniture to stabilize if this creates any problem with balance. It's also helpful if you look straight down and find something small to focus on with your eyes. So maybe something on your mat, a design or a square, or it may be something on the wood floor. This is building some strength. And only if your block is close by, take the block in your hand and then press through the feet to come up. If the block's not close by, just grab it on your way. So I think this is going to cut me off, but that's all right. Line up your feet so they're parallel, like it's making the 11. And we're going to hold the block in between the palms. As we inhale, we're going to lift the arms straight upward. Energy line grounding and energy line rising. From here, take a deep breath in and exhale, you're going to curve to the right. And I'll try to mirror you. Now we're receiving more of an active practice to that banana asana we did in the beginning on our backs. Feel the different relationship with gravity. Inhale, come up to the top. Exhale, curve to the other. I want you to notice the feel of the shoulders as well, because that's what we're going to work with here for the next couple poses. All right, inhale, keep the legs engaged as you rise to the top, and exhale, lower the arms down. We're going to change how we're using the hands. The thumbs are going to come on top now of the block, and then you're going to spin your other fingers away from the block. So you're holding an L shape between the index fingers and your thumbs. Okay, different mechanic with the shoulders. Press down through the soles of the feet. Inhale, this is what the hands will look like as you come forward. As you lift the block straight overhead. And I know my range of motion allows me to have the arms back out of my peripheral line of view, but your arms may be here. Please honor where your restriction is. It does not have to look like me. All right, inhale, lift, exhale, curve to the right again. Breathe. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Coming back to 11-11. All right, bringing the hands down. Now we're going to do one more, which means the palms are going to face forward, and we're going to hold the block with the outer wrist and pinky fingers. Okay, if this creates any pain or strain, don't do it, okay? Hopefully it won't. Root the feet and inhale, lift the hands back up. This is a different rotation with the shoulders. Exhale, curve to the right. Inhale, back to 11-11. Exhale over to the side. Strength and courage fill up my body cells to shed light on the shadow, to move through the energetic portal, and to remember our thoughts are the beginning of creation. Inhale, come up to the top. Exhale, lower the arms down. Okay, once you lower the arms down, you can bend the knees to lower the block. And then go ahead and step the hands down and step into plank. All right, from plank position, look down at your arms. These are the columns. This is like the 11, the gateway. Spiral your legs in, lift them up. Now bring the right foot over to the left. See if it's possible to keep the feet and legs stacked and roll open to side plank. I know this is a lot, so if you need to drop your right foot down, you can. If you need to lower your left knee first, and then keep the right foot to the floor. That's another gentle way of performing side plank. Choose one of the three. And then exhale, bringing the right hand down. Inhale, returning to full plank. Stepping the feet closer, maybe rolling to the outer edge of the right foot, shining the left arm up, crossing the left foot over if that's a good assistance, or bringing the right knee down and straightening the left leg. This is my second yin class today. I did the side plank before. This feels better now. And I know this is an active pose, but this is more of a yin flow. Bring the left hand down and bring the left knee to join. All right, we're gonna curl the toes and lift up and back to downward facing dog. Feel the 11 with the arms, the 11 through the legs. One more breath. And then on the exhalation, we're coming to the knees, and then we're going to come down to chest and chin, Ashtanga Pranam. And then we're going to untuck the toes, come to rest on the belly, slide the hands away, and push up into seal. Please do not feel like you have to be this high in seal. There are some days where I need to be more like this, instead of all the pressure being on the pubic bone, more on the belly to cater to the low back. Please also know you can come down to Sphinx arms as a place in between the two. I like to separate my feet in this yin version. Keeping the head and the heart propped up. And feel free to close the eyes. So the good news is the Pleiades stars that are sending light towards us during this time frame, it's not just about bringing us joy, but it's also supposed to aid us in expanding the Christ consciousness within. That loving, forgiving, non-judgmental, compassionate, expanding, inclusive, uniting energy. And we know the world needs that right now. Exhale, lower towards the chest. Slide your hands back, push up to table. Take a moment to round the back to cat stretch as a counter. Now release and flip your left hand, loop it underneath for thread the needle. We need a nice twist. And this is a great twist because it also gives us the benefit of being inverted. Hips over heart, heart over head. Inhale, table. Exhale, thread the needle. Other side. Inhale, let's come up. All right, our last little bit of an active practice, we're going to bring the soles of the feet to meet. And the hands are going to stack behind us, and we're going to roll and crank the shoulders back. Root the hands so you can really pick up the cavity of your chest. And try not to jackknife the neck, but the head is leaning into the safety net of the neck. Not too much, not too little, just right. And then I want you to explore your inhalations. Try to allow them to be longer and stronger than your exhalations. Feel as though the sun rays are coming down to penetrate the heart. Your own inner light is beaming out of your body, out into the world. There's a famous statement, and I can't remember it verbatim, but it says something like, one candle can light 1,000 more, or something like that. And they say that as the higher our frequency, the more light and love we have, the more we can influence the people in the collective around us, which is really nice to think about. If you slide your feet a little further away, and we're going to do the yin form of butterfly. So we kind of just spill down. And when you spill down and round the back, I want you to imagine those same beams. It's kind of easy to imagine the front of the body. It's a little bit more difficult to imagine in the back of the body, especially when we're hunkering over this way, because we become a little bit more introspective or a little bit more introverted. And imagine the same beam shining down to your heart through your back. And similar beams of light shining out of your heart through the back and out into the world. Inhale it slowly. Back up to the top. So I'm going to let you choose. You may need to lie down. Okay, so if you want Shavasana, take Shavasana. But I am going to guide you through this. If you would like to sit up and be more formal, perfectly fine as well. So just as we talked about the number one, kind of being the conduit between the heavens and the earth, or like the antenna, it's kind of what the yogis thought about with keeping the spine upright. But again, I don't mind if you roll down to the floor. Go ahead and get settled for our meditation. Regardless of your position, just feel how the breath moves upstream on the in-breath, and downstream on the out-breath. So even with our breath, we experience what we could consider the yin-yang, that symbol of harmony and balance. The energy moving upward, just like our consciousness rising or up-leveling, is for spiritual enlightenment, spiritual liberation, spiritual growth. And the downward stream is the release, the letting go, the grounding, the manifestation, what we want to create here on earth. To exist in this world, it's nice to have our connection to both. That line between the earth and the heavens, that connection between matter and spirit. That is the significance of the numeral 1. And think about today is 11:11. We have 4 of those lined up. That's why it's considered the gateway. Feel free to call in angels or spirit guides for support and guidance. And be sure to thank them for being here for you. Imagine whatever is touching down to the flooring, that you're creating a landing line, as if your body was extending, moving down through the earth. Finding something to lodge on. Whether it's a big boulder or a crystal, something solid. Once you have that connection coming back up, all the way to the third eye, where you're sending your inner drishti or gaze. Notice there may be sparkles of light once you lift your gaze. Maybe spotlight. I want you to imagine that there is also gold in the mix. Gold to fortify you, gold to bring in this lining of protection and connection to the divine. And through the light, keep peering and imagine that you see the columns in front of you. The entrance or the gateway in between. And imagine just like on one of these early autumn days, how the fog is prevalent in the mornings. And that fog begins to fade, and you can see very clearly on the other side, things are brighter, shinier, more lovely, falling you in to this new timeline where people stand united, where peace prevails, where there's free energy, abundance in everything you need. Once that clearing makes that visible, I want you to imagine you're stepping through the portal. You can even imagine this portal just being within one of the chambers of your heart. To a place that you're finally healed and you're ready to expand and bloom and shine. Where you feel worthy, accepting, ready. We're going to sit and practice a little silence in the space. Let's sit for 11 more breaths. complete our practice and seal our practice by placing the hands to prayer position at the heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace by anything out of our control, anything imposed upon us by another, or any internal stressors of our own.